happens if we're looking to buy a new build, complete new clean slate, no TOGC requirements? What happens there?
Often the new owner of the property has slightly more freedom to decide what they're expecting to do with the property. So a lot of landlords typically choose to opt to tax their building ready for when they then bring their tenants in place. And the benefit of that is that if there has been any, say, VAT paid on either acquisition of the property or if they've constructed it themselves, it allows them to recover that. However, some landlords do also recognise that opting to tax has a really big knock-on effect for the occupiers of the buildings. It depends on exactly what that occupier themselves are going to do with the building once they're in situ as to whether they can recover VAT or not. So your typical, say, manufacturing or professional services client, they're usually fully taxable from a VAT point of view. They're relatively relaxed around paying VAT on rent. However, clients in the exempt space, so say banking, insurance, healthcare, they often can't recover much VAT, if any. And so for them, paying VAT on their rent is an absolute cost. And it is recognised in some sectors that from a landlord's point of view, if they have opted, it can put off certain tenants. So there was a bit of a trend back in sort of the 90s that when, for example, Canary Wharf was constructed, it wasn't necessarily a given that all of the property owners were going to opt to tax their building because they knew that they might be putting off certain tenants from being interested in occupying. So you then get into a really interesting discussion around, well, the landlord can't recover the VAT on their own costs, but it might still be in their interests to not opt, not have the knock-on effect for the occupier, but put the net part of the rent up a little bit to reimburse them from the VAT that they can't recover. So you sometimes get into these kind of active discussions around saying, if you've not already opted, let's pause and let's think about what might work best for both sides. And I've definitely seen that happen.